Natural resource management is something that is defined as using our human skills to go into an ecosystem and make sure that it's sustained and make sure that whatever we do to help benefit its natural processes, we can do. But a lot of times, nature, like places like Yellowstone and national parks all throughout the country, we spend so much time trying to keep them in their most native state that they're actually completely not native at all. Because if it wasn't for our impact and the stuff we do to those ecosystems, it wouldn't be what it is now. And so these are great conservation efforts to keep these national parks in order, but that's not really what a novel ecosystem is. A novel ecosystem is an ecosystem that is untouched and it's just allowed to flourish on its own and have its own diversity. And there's a few problems with this because obviously in the grand scheme of things, the large scale, if we just let nature be nature, didn't touch it, didn't mess with it, there would be problems. But on the smaller scale, for instance, an overgrown backyard, maybe a unkempt front yard. If you remember from in class, there's an example about a gentleman that didn't mow his lawn for a year, 2 years, and there was species of grass found there that were extremely rare. And so it's interesting that without touching things, without having a direct impact on these ecosystems, they're allowed to grow and branch out and grow different populations of species that wouldn't have otherwise been present. And so that's almost where you have to draw a fine line, because that's not something we can always let happen. And it could be something that causes degradation. Like if we stop looking at lakes, rivers, and streams, and there's invasive fish in those streams, well, guess what? It's going to be bad. It's going to be very bad for the environment, and we're going to have to step in at some point and do something to help out. And so that kind of brings me to the point of rewilding, where you have these ecosystems and we play with them, we mess with them, we tweak them, we add this and we take away that. But I think rewilding best represents, obviously not zero interaction, but pushing species out there and just letting them be, letting them function, and letting the food webs and food chains sort themselves out like they were meant to in nature before we came along and degraded forests and endangered species. So I think rewilding and novel ecosystems are two concepts that tie into each other and could be very, very beneficial if used correctly.